Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. The current Hearthstone meta might be a little bit stale, we're really waiting for the Descent of Dragons, and later this week we will have the card reveal season going on again, so expect to see a lot of videos about that. But in the meanwhile, I thought I'd do a little bit of reminiscence and look back into the history of Hearthstone and what sort of cards have I enjoyed the most. So this is going to be my list of top 12 cards that I have liked the most in the history of entire Hearthstone. First of all, there were two cards that I thought I would include, so this is kind of 14 cards maybe. There were two cards that I thought about including in the list, and those cards are these ones, Nezoth the Corruptor and Reno Jackson. I thought both of these cards were extremely fun in their original meta. Reno made something completely unique when it built the Highlander concept for Hearthstone as a competitive concept, and back when there was just Reno, it wasn't overpowered. It was very well balanced, but then they kind of overdid that and Reno turned out to be something that's hated instead of loved. And kind of the same thing has happened with Nezoth. Nezoth used to be a really fun card, I loved Nezoth. But I have to say that the current meta where Nezoth came back into a world where there's Khatut defenders, then that card pretty much alone has made Nezoth much less enjoyable and more of a drag. So these two would have made the list otherwise, but their more recent history has a little bit spoiled their memory. But if these are out, then what 12 cards have I liked more in the history of Hearthstone than any other cards? Let's take a little bit of a journey to the past. At number 12 there's Meteor from Journey to Un'Goro. I mean, Meteor is just this incredible flavor. There's such a fun card, deal 15 damage to a minion and 3 damage to adjacent ones. And as it happens, the biggest dinosaur had 14 health and this dealt 15 damage. So Meteor coming from the sky, just big enough to kill the biggest, baddest dinosaur on the planet. I just think that this was such a great mix of flavor, incredible positioning within the set that this was in, and also a nice way for Mage to solve hard removal problems. Mage typically doesn't have a lot of hard removal, it has polymorph, but other than that, Mage removal is typically damage based. And this is damage based, but it's still almost like hard removal because that 15 damage is so much. An extremely fun card. At number 11, a card that is currently available to play within standard format, Myra's Unstable Element, draw the rest of your deck. This is such an intensely skill testing card and fits the rogue flavor ideally. Just knowing when to go to that fatigue turn, and then you might even be playing a couple of turns, 2-3 turns after you play this before you're able to finish the game sometimes. Sometimes you use this and you manage to tutor that exactly lethal already for the turn when you play this, but sometimes you just play this and you know it's going to give me a bunch of resources. I'm going to use those resources over the next couple of turns. That will win me the game. And deciding when to use this. Are you able to do many things on the same turn, or do you just use this? You know you're going to a fatigue turn, but you will trust in the resources that you gain from it. It's an incredible card. It's also a very Hearthstone-like card, because in many other card games, once you try to draw from an empty deck, you lose the game instantly on the spot. But this makes great use of Hearthstone's fatigue mechanic and the way Rogue class is built for a fun experience. My 10th most favorite card of all time is Deathrattle Hatchling. 5 mana 3/6 beast, taunt, Deathrattle, shuffle a 6/9 Deathrattle with taunt into your deck. I loved playing Nezoth Warrior back in the day, and just look at how cute this is. I mean, this is so cute. It's a useful card, it delays fatigue, it allows for some really fun plays if you have ways to bring Deathrattle minions back, and it's really cute. Coming in at number 9 on my all-time favorites list is Swamp King Dread. 7 mana 9/9 beast, that's like the most stats you could get at that point for that mana. After your opponent plays a minion, attack it. This resulted in so many hilarious moments. You could see that even in some pro games. I could see it on ladder, even on legend ladder. People often just didn't know how to play against this card because it wasn't quite in the meta. And then you slammed the Dread on the board, and then they would try to play some minions and Dread would slam into all of those. And as long as they weren't poisonous, then Dread was just killing stuff left and right. It was never quite in the meta because at 7 mana, yeah, it's kind of difficult to justify doing a turn of nothing, because if you're behind, you play Swamp King Dread, your opponent just hits with the resource they already have on the board and play some spells from hand and you're dead. And that sucks, but when it worked, it was downright hilarious. My 8th most favorite card of all time is Jaraxxus, Corpse Flower. This was really the start of this recurring minion that comes back and back and back. A rogue minion, 4 mana 5/3, Deathrattle go dormant, play 4 cards in a turn to revive this minion. It was playable for only a short period of time. Soon afterwards it just couldn't be used, it was too slow. But back when it was playable, it just kept coming back and the opponent had to kill it every turn, because you can't leave rogue with minions on the board, because then rogue just deals so much damage. And it was such fun to figure out ways to revive it again and again and use card generation cards in order to just keep the Jaraxxus going in action. Really loving this card. At number 7 I have a classic card, and that's Twisting Nether. Who doesn't love Twisting Nether? Twisting Nether, it's just destroy all minions. It's a Wrath of God. Who doesn't love Wrath of God? It's awesome. It's expensive, but it just kills stuff. Sure, nowadays we have some Plague of Deaths and stuff like that. Newcomers. Ha. But Twisting Nether, the original. Coming in at number 6, I have Magus. Magus from Blackrock Mountain was never really the favorite dragon of people, typically. But I loved Magus. I thought Magus was the best dragon ever. 8 mana 6/8. Whenever you draw a card, put another copy into your hand. So, I mean, this is such a value generator. Back when it was possible for a minion to actually survive for a turn, then getting that Magus on the board, starting to draw those resources, starting to just multiply your cards. It was really difficult to make decks where Magus is to work. It still wasn't that awesome typically. But I did play this a lot in Dragon Druid that I played in High Legend just before Standard came out, and I just love the flavor, love the being, love the effect. It's beautiful. At number 5 I have a hero card. Well, many hero cards are supremely powerful, but how fun are they? Uther of the Ebon Blade holds a very special place in my heart for one particular reason. And that is the reason that Uther of the Ebon Blade single-handedly made it possible for me to build the first ever budget control deck that I built in Hearthstone. And incidentally, it's also the last budget control deck that I have been able to build in Hearthstone that was really successful, that you could climb to Legend. It cost 3000 dust. It was kind of a combo deck in the end, because it had the Uther hero power that just eventually kills people. It was a control deck with Uther of the Ebon Blade, and then it just had the option to generate 4 horsemen to win the game instantly. But without Uther of the Ebon Blade, the deck would not have worked. Uther, the 5/3 weapon with lifesteal, giving you board control, giving you healing, such a crucial aspect of that deck. So hard to come by on a budget. So often you could simply play the control game, you just control the board until the opponent concedes. But then you also had that slight glimmer of hope of killing people with the horsemen. And that's why Uther, more than any other hero card, has had a place in my favorites. And at number 4, the dragon that we all waited for, the dragon that we might have deserved, but that didn't end up doing well enough, sadly. I waited for this so much. It came out with the Grand Tournament. 7 mana 6/6 dragon, taunt, Deathrattle. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage to all minions. This was to be the savior of dragon decks. It wasn't. But I still had some good times playing Dragon Priest in that meta. That was long before Dragonid Operatives, of course. That was long before Dragon Priest was any good. But jamming this on a board where your opponent has a board full of patrons, and those patrons, Grim Patrons, had 3 health, so then Chillmore just erased them. In a world where Patron Warrior was a real thing, and being able to sometimes beat it with Chillmore was so much fun, even though Chilmo, of course, legendary minion, you can't tutor it even, you can't get it reliably, you're not going to have a great win rate. But it was our best hope. And number 3, Rin, the First Disciple. I have really enjoyed this card. This has been one of the most fun cards that I have played with. Contra Warlock has always had a special place in my heart. And Rin, the First Disciple, Deathrattle add the first seal to your hand. Then you start playing those seals. You get towards that big demon that's going to eat the opponent's deck. When you finally get there, you play that. All of the cards are destroyed. You still have plenty left. You're going to take the game. Also a skill testing card. Sometimes you play this, sometimes you don't have time to play the seals. How many seals can you play each turn? Navigating that maze of how much health do you need, how much defenses do you need, how much can you afford to be playing those seals. You could often punish poor Rin players for overplaying their seals and you just go ahead and kill them. Okay, sure, you can have some small demons on the board, I don't mind if you're dead. But it was a really fun card. As number 2, another card from the Grand Tournament, Mach The Impaler. This is such a fun 4-mana 4/4 battlecry if you have at least 4 other minions deal 4 damage. I played this extensively in Zoo Warlock back in the day. Stats-wise, it was mediocre. It was just borderline whether you should include it or not. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't one of the best cards in the deck either. But flavor-wise, getting that white board, jamming that Mach, having it deal 4 damage. And that 4 damage, it can go to a minion, it can go to face, it can go anywhere. I have such fond memories of playing with this card. And then my favorite card of all time, Lord Jaraxxus, Eredar Lord of the Burning Legion. Battlecry, destroy a hero and replace it with Lord Jaraxxus. A hero card from a time where hero cards didn't exist and technically isn't a hero card, it is a minion card. But such a great card for Contra Warlock. You go down to that 15 health, you can't get above 15 health anymore. Power to summon these infernals time and time again. And navigating those Jaraxxus games, when you know that the margins are slim, if the opponent has burst damage, they can just kill you when you're in Jaraxxus form. But if they don't, then slowly you're just taking over the board so completely that the opponent will be completely helpless. Or at least that's how it used to work. Nowadays, of course, everyone has so much burst that you become Jaraxxus and you're dead, and then later on, of course, now there's also Zephyrus. So you become Jaraxxus and they play Zephyrus and they get Sacrificial Pact and you're dead. So Jaraxxus is completely unplayable at the moment, which is really sad because playing with Jaraxxus in Contra Warlock, that has been some of the most strategic Hearthstone I have ever played. Those were my favorite Hearthstone cards of all time. Now, what do you think? Let me know in the comments what Hearthstone card you really love and why. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.